So we're going to talk Arlo camera systems so you guys have a little better understanding of what camera system they're using out in front of Kelsey's house. Who was that? Was that True Crime and Gossip or just, oh, True Crime Truth Finders. What's up? So, I have the Arlo system at my house. I'm about to go over a couple of things. I'm going to give, wrench me, Dad. Uh-oh. Leah wants to be a wrench. I don't know. Tell me something about Dad that no one knows then. If you're going to be a wrench, you got to tell me something about Dad that no one knows. But we're going to talk Arlo camera systems. And we're going to talk landfills. Now, am I an Arlo camera system pro? No. Do I own an Arlo camera system? Yes. I think I own the same camera system. The same camera system that they have that caught screen captures of Patrick going into the house. Now let me explain to you why they only have screen captures. So the Arlo camera system offers a couple of different packages. They have a couple of different packages. Their most basic package is the system in which they were using at this property, which is, people keep calling it the 7-day trial, but it's not the 7-day trial. It's actually just the 7-day service. In other words, Arlo offers a system when you buy their camera system that it's a free cloud service for 7 days of storage. Now, to bypass the 7-day storage, not bypass it, but to add to that 7-day storage on the free system, you can plug a USB drive into your Arlo system. And then that USB drive will store that any video footage that comes through your Arlo system. It doesn't even go to the, it goes to the cloud still for 7 days, but it also stores on your USB drive. So if you're going to invest in an Arlo security system, invest in a 250 gig USB drive so that you can record all those videos. What has happened with the video surveillance from in front of Kelsey's house is, if you have joined us on our drive-bys up by the house, I live on Kelsey's block, by the way. If you're just joining, I live in Woodland Park, Colorado. I've been here almost 15 years, and Kelsey lived on the block up the street. And so I've been by her house on a number of occasions. I've actually seen the cameras in which they're using footage from. And the reason why I don't think that footage or those pictures are going to be very viable in the actual trial for evidence that show him as a murderer. Now, they can show timeline, and this has all been about timeline. This has all been about storyline, timeline. It's been about putting together a sequence of events that makes sense with the testimony they got from KK. And so they caught pictures of Patrick, one of Patrick's friends, at the house. They just caught still frames because the people who have the system only have that 7-day storage, and they didn't get to those cameras fast enough. Will it be usable in court? I don't know. Will a picture be able to tell the story if they have a phone ping to go along with it? If they have another video camera somewhere that caught Patrick at the Int or the Walmart or any of that? Well, all of that ties together. So the system in and of itself is, at best, going to help them tell that story. At worst, it's going to be thrown out and they're going to say it's not liable. I got you. I see it, Leah. So understanding that the system that they have at the house may not be the best evidence. It may not be the clearest picture, but if it can just corroborate or confirm the phone ping, right? Patrick was here, the phone ping happens, boom, right? That's all they need with that picture. That's why they don't have video. There's the other thing people keep asking is, well, why don't they have a picture of KK? Well, it's the same thing. The Arlo system is set up on motion detection. And to be honest with you, it works. They're great cameras and they can help. Yes, see, exactly. Everybody's asking that question now. But sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't go off. Sometimes the battery dies. Sometimes you don't get the alert. And so it's not a foolproof security system in a sense that it's not hardwired. There could be a number of reasons why they don't have footage of KK going into the house. One, because the motion activation is sometimes a delayed reaction, and I've had this happen with me. So recently I had this car blow this stop sign at a high rate of speed while my son was on the sidewalk, and I was about to turn left into my driveway, and this car swerved, almost hit me, almost hit my son, and I was almost for sure I was going to have it on video. I was like, I even called the cops and was like, I got video. I got video. And then I go look at my freaking Arlo system, and the Arlo system had started when I started to make the U-turn. In other words, it didn't catch me coming by the first time, so it didn't trigger when that car went. It only caught me turning around to get actual video on my cell phone of the car. And so there's a number of reasons why that Arlo system might not have actually caught KK going in the building or into Kelsey's house. Whether or not those pictures are going to be, I want to stress this because a lot of people are taking KK's testimony as fact. But in fact, it is hearsay. In fact, it isn't factual yet. They haven't been able to corroborate her story completely. This is why they're going to the landfill to search for remains. Now let's talk about the landfill for a second. I want you to understand the difference between a landfill and a dump. A dump is a hole in the ground, and they're going to just throw the trash in. They're going to burn it. It's not necessarily a place in which the trash is going to stay. It's where people bring it, they dump it off, and then it's going to go somewhere else, right? A dump is something you think about like when you talk about like the dumps in Guatemala. Like there are children who live in the dumps in Guatemala, and they sort through the trash because the trash isn't in any way, shape, or form protected. It's gonna be exposed to the weather. It's gonna be exposed to different things. Unlike a landfill. A landfill is a scientifically engineered structure to store trash. I don't claim to be a landfill expert. But with that being said, I worked for an engineering company who was the supervising inspectors of a particular landfill that I actually had to go to every day for probably 6 or 7 months. I gridded out the landfill. I did GPS coordinates on that landfill, and then I made sure they built the cells. I made sure they laid the liner down correctly. I made sure. Don't ask me why I did this. It was during I moved to Florida. I went to work for my wife's aunt. She owned an engineering company. They put me to work, and I was a young 24-year-old kid. They gave me some certifications and said, "You're now an inspector." And so I don't claim to be a dump expert, but I have worked at a landfill, and I do understand how they work. And so a landfill works where they keep the trash separated from the elements, water, air, and any other environmental outside forces. They bring in the trash. They lay it down in an area that has a liner underneath it in some way, shape. It might be a liner that's 10 feet down. It might be a liner right underneath it. Then they cover it with dirt to protect it. This happens daily. So understand, this happens daily. When they bring trash in, it goes into a spot, they cover it with dirt. They may separate the recyclables. Some of it might go to compost, where they're going to grind up like pallets, and some of it may about 50% of the trash gets buried is what the statistics say. There's 30% gets recycled. Some of it goes to compost, and then about 50% gets buried. The landfills are laid out in grids, so they have an understanding of, if they know what time of day, if they know what date someone shows up, they may be able to point you into a specific area to search. It's not an exact science, because let's be honest, it's trash. And so the guys who do the moving around of the trash, they're always aware of what's going on, but if some ashes or some dust or something comes out of a bag, or if they rip open a bag and there's a bunch of ashes and dirt and mixed something, they're not necessarily going to be alerted to that. And then all of a sudden that dirt and that mixture could actually get mixed in with all kinds of other trash. And you have to understand, the landfill in which they're going to search services Colorado Springs, Pueblo, surrounding small areas, and Woodland Park, Teller County, Florissant, Colorado divide. All these little, Cripple Creek, all of that goes to the Midway landfill. And so there's trash from all over southern Colorado that's ending up at the same spot in which they're going to go search. Is it possible they could find non-decomposed evidence? Absolutely. A landfill is designed to decompose the trash at the slowest rate possible. It's not actually designed to decompose trash. It's actually designed to preserve the trash, to fill the hole up, to fill that structure up with trash. Layer of dirt over the top of it, layer of dirt over the next day, layer of dirt over the next day. And so understanding how that system works will give you a better understanding of, could they find it? Yeah, there is a possibility. Probability? That's a different question. I don't know the probability. I don't know the mathematical probability that they're going to be able to pinpoint where Patrick's stuff is that he dumped. The other problem with the landfill, again, there's too many outside variables. Even though they try to keep the wind and the water and all the elements from messing with the trash, you're still mixing it up with trash from all over southern Colorado. And so now all of a sudden you're having to, you're going to have someone come in and swear that they're an expert, that they know exactly that this piece of trash came from Patrick, and that's going to be hard to do. I'm not an expert defense attorney, but I would think in my own mind that if my defense attorney can't argue the fact that this could have been compromised, this could have been messed with, this could have been contaminated, this might not be Patrick's trash. If you can't argue that fact, you might not be. You might not need to be a lawyer. And then there's the stinking suspicion that KK's story doesn't necessarily line up, that she's not telling the truth, that what she's telling could be throwing officers off, it could be throwing mixed signals. And so they could be throwing mixed signals to a point where they're just trying to confuse people. Well, I'm here. If we made it home, yeah, we made it home. If you didn't join us last night, I was actually working. I had to shoot some video for one of my clients, one of my buddies, and he was painting at a concert. Also at the concert was a couple of music artists that were going to be performing at a up-and-coming music fest. So I had to shoot some video of that. Just so happened, though, yesterday morning, my wife was like, hey, I want to go see these people sing, do this concert. And I was like, I don't know. Halfway through the day, I was like, hey, snag me some tickets, buddy. I'm coming down there with my cameras. So I got to take Mrs. Underground with me. She got to see some hip hop. Dad got to get some great video footage. And we drove home in a freaking blizzard. But we made it home safe. Everything's good. So as far as the landfill, as far as the dump goes, is it possible they find something? Absolutely. Landfills are designed to preserve trash. 100%. Don't take dad's word for it. You go freaking read about it online somewhere. Somebody can Google it. Is it probable? I don't know. I don't know the probability. I don't know who is watching every piece of trash that comes in, and so is it probable? Maybe. Is it possible? Maybe. Will it help? I don't know. Possible, but after the timing, unlikely. But I hope they find something. Well, my problem is I hope they don't plant something. And I know I'm a conspiracy theorist that thinks the cops are corrupt. Well, it's more likely they're corrupt than they are straight. And so if they try to plant something, it could backfire. Because what if he didn't dump the body at the landfill? What if he knows without a doubt they can't find anything because he dumped the body in the river? Or he dumped the ashes, the remains somewhere else? 13th Junior wants to know, can you explain Sean's part in this case? I can explain that Sean is a highly trained investigator in the Colorado Springs Police Department. I can explain that although they say Sean and Patrick had an estranged relationship, it just so happens that they got together on the same day that Kelsey is supposedly murdered. Could Sean have the knowledge on how to stage a crime scene? Absolutely. Could Sean have a knowledge on how to confuse law enforcement? Absolutely. Now the question you have to ask yourself, are there people out there that think that Sean has been involved in other murders in Teller County? According to the mothers that I've interviewed, there is a possibility that Sean was involved in a murder 10 years ago that was covered up by Woodland Park PD. There is a possibility that Sean and Patrick both were involved in that murder. There is a possibility that Sean, Patrick, and KK were involved in that murder 10 years ago. So the question you have to ask yourself when we're talking about the brother of someone who is in custody for murder, and then all of a sudden this strange story comes out that they're a strange relationship. Listen, I think Oma Fraze is a mom that governs her kids with an iron thumb. And this is why a 30-year-old man still lives with Oma Fraze, because he's not all there. Because there was signs and situations in his life that this kid may have been a murderer his whole life, and so this is why a 30-year-old man, 30-plus-year-old man still lives at home with his mother. That is not normal. I know it's become more and more evident in today's society, but there is the possibility, you have to look at a very strong possibility that Sean helped his brother helped Sean, or they talked KK into doing this. Nevertheless, we know that KK knew about this weeks in advance. You don't think Sean didn't know about this weeks in advance? So I'm not, you think it's scary to say someone's involved that's still out there on the loose that carries a badge and a gun. But is Sean being protected by the police? Yes, I do believe so. Why wasn't he labeled a witness? Why didn't they ask Sean to come forward as a witness? They listed me as a witness. Omar Fraze pleaded the fifth. The best they could have done is say, hey, Sean, are you going to testify against your brother? And let him say, I plead the fifth. So what do you think? You answer that question. I think it's I think it's as probable that Sean knew what was going on as Omar Fraze knew what was going on. I think it's as probable that Sean knew what was going on because Patrick had asked multiple people to help. I think the friend, quote unquote, that went to pick up the package, quote unquote, could be Sean. So the question is, did a cop know about a murder his brother did and didn't say anything? Maybe. Maybe we'll never know. Now, if I was put on the stand and they were to ask me, what do you think of the Woodland Park Police Department? I'd have to say, well, I think they're corrupt. I think they've been involved in murders before. If they were to ask me, what do you think of Sean? I'd say, I don't know. I had a mother tell me that Sean was involved in the murder of her daughter. I mean, that's on tape. I'm not making that up. That's on YouTube right now. You can go watch that video on my Woodland Park Underground. Deal. So, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. So there you go. Hey, if you want to hear more about this, you can go over to the Woodland Park Dad with a Phone page. You can go over to Facebook. You can see me on the Underground. Or don't. You can say I'm a bad psychopath. You can say I'm a crazy. I'm really just a dad with a phone. That lives on Kelsey's block. They got interested in this after the fact, right? It didn't come on my radar for till about